Hi, everybody. This is Eddie Richardson.
My name is James.
Shimon LeVar, Big Sarge Curry.
Carolina Love.
And this
is
my 10 minutes.
My 10-minute story.
Welcome everybody to another edition of my 10-minute stories. I had a pleasure to bring to you guys a great individual out in the Lexington, South Carolina community, Mr. Eddie Richardson. Eddie, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing pretty good, sir. How about yourself?
I'm well, man. Thanks for coming on the show. So let's jump right into it, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's get the audience familiar with who you are and what you do.
All right. I'm Eddie Richardson. I'm here in the local community over in Lexington. I am a retired, disabled Lexington County Sheriff's Deputy. I currently am an advocate for wounded officers and wounded first responders' rights across the country. I work for the Wounded Blue, which is a national charity. It is the support and assistance organization for wounded police officers throughout the country. And I also work with the Iron Medics EMS Motorcycle Club, doing peer support advocacy for wounded first responders locally.
That's awesome, man. I also noticed in your bio, you did a little bit of EMS time, a little bit of fire time. So I take it your passion was just to serve the community. You just kind of wanted a little bit of everything.
Absolutely. It was, started off very young. I did volunteer ambulance, volunteer firefighting when I was a teenager into my early 20s up in New York. And then when I moved down here, I got the chance to move over into law enforcement, and I never looked back. I ended up doing 12 years before I had to end my career.
All right, so tell us about the Wounded Blue, man. It sounds like an amazing project. You guys are 501(c), right? Or C3?
What's kind of amazing about it is that before its inception, there was nothing like it. Every day I talk to wounded officers across the country that, they tell me their story. Sometimes it's been 30 years since they've talked to anybody, where they felt like they're alone. They felt like they're forgotten. And this is the first organization that actually does outreach to these guys, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years after their incidents, to say, listen, you're not forgotten. You were not a liability. You are still an asset. You still serve. So the cause is actually expanding to all first responders rather than just wounded police officers, because we're seeing where it's not just our profession, it's all civil servants are dealing with the same issues.
So the Wounded Blue program, were you a part of the foundation? Were you a part of the initial setup, or did you kind of come on as it was getting started?
It's kind of a little bit of both. Our founder, Randy Sutton, lives out in Las Vegas. How can I put it? We weren't technically lobbying, but we were up there asking Congress and the Senate to do some things for us. And while we were up there, he saw what we were doing, and he said, listen, I just started this charity. We haven't even gotten 501(c)(3) status yet, but this is what I plan on doing. Would you be interested in doing peer support? So initially we came in on the ground floor. We were the very beginning of the charity with the founder. We've now done over 3,500 peer supports nationwide. Most of those were done with a team of just nine.
Oh, wow.
And we just doubled our team size in the end of September, beginning of October, and actually doubled our team. So now we have representatives in 16 states. We have 18 different peer support advocates that are doing this outreach.
That's amazing service, man. So what does peer support encompass? Do you guys just kind of call and follow up, or what does it mean to provide peer support?
Well, peer support system was created by, believe it or not, the FBI when they started dealing with critical incidents. And it really came to proliferation mainly after situations like the Oklahoma City bombing, where they realized that the trauma that these officers were receiving, and first responders in general, because they're walking into a literal war zone and then trying to go about their normal life after the fact. And what they found is by interacting with people when they have trauma, immediately following the trauma and following a set timeline that they can actually reduce the need for mental health assistance up to 80% of the time.
Wow.
By doing it in this timely manner. As I said, the national average is 80% don't need mental health help, so about 20% get referred to for further evaluation. And both the Wounded Blue and the Iron Medics EMS Motorcycle Club, we both are partnered with a group called Serve and Protect. So if anybody needs any mental health evaluation or any further counseling or treatment, we go through them confidentially, and they'll turn around and get us in touch with a local doctor, wherever they're at, that are first responder friendly for themselves or for the person that's asked us or for their family members, and totally confidential. We get them in touch with those people, but we actually do it at a rate of almost 50%.
Wow.
Because it's been so long since they've had the trauma, they weren't able to go through the proper steps of peer support to drop it down to that 20%. So we actually recommend people for mental health help way more than the national average, just because of the length of time that we're dealing with after their trauma. Hi everybody, this is Eddie Richardson, and this is my 10-minute story.
All right, guys, we're back. I'm sitting here once again with Mr. Eddie Richardson, peer advocate extraordinaire with the Wounded Blue program. And then, so we're going to go in and talk about, I guess, part 2 and 3 of your duties with the Iron Medics EMS Motorcycle Club. So tell us a little bit about it. Where did you guys get founded? How did you guys get started up, man? Motorcycles have always been a part of Americana, if you will, man. There's always this fascination. So tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
Absolutely. It's got a great premise to it. John Jones and his wife Crystal. I'd worked with both of them throughout the county, both when John worked at EMS for Lexington and when his wife worked over at the corrections for Lexington County Sheriff's Department. When I got hurt, I had to get dropped down to base pay. I went from like 70 hours a week working for 3 agencies down to base pay while I was dealing with medical, while I was dealing with all the other issues. And to the point my wife actually had to leave her job to take care of me because I was surgery after surgery after surgery. We couldn't afford our house payment. So these guys I'd seen on the road back and forth, we'd run calls together for years. They show up at my house with another group, Blue Iron and law riders. They showed up at our house and they paid our mortgage for us. Well, we had a tree go down in our backyard about 9 months after the fact. John and Crystal both showed up at the house with all their friends, and they started cutting the tree up for us because they knew I couldn't lift anything above 5 pounds. Well, John told me, he said, listen, the motorcycle club we were riding with, we're splitting off from. We don't like some of the things they're doing, and we'd really like for y'all to be a part of this new club we're putting together because we're going to do it for PTSD and first responders. So my wife and I were like, sure, we don't ride, but sure, that'll be fine. He said, with all the peer support stuff you're doing, the peer support stuff that he himself is doing, he'd love for us to be a part of it. So we joined the motorcycle club at its foundation. We're original members. Both of us now ride. I actually drive a trike. She drives a Sportster, both on Harleys. And what we did was when my workers' comp settlement came in, we turned around and we doubled the money that they had given us to take care of our house. And for Christmas, we gave them double that money back. And we began what's called the 522 fund. That was my call number at the time I was hurt. And what it does is we raise money to give to first responders or to help first responders that are injured in the line of duty. So sometimes it's, put some groceries on their table, or their truck needs a new transmission, or they're having trouble paying their electrical bill or something like that, just to take that little edge off of what's bothering them and what could possibly lead them down the road to bad mental health later. We kind of step in and just give them a little bit of assistance where it's needed.
What I've noticed, man, is sometimes it's not about the amount. It's just the ability to show that somebody else cares, man. And that goes a long way. So tell us, how can they get in touch with you? Let's start with the motorcycle club. Say I have a guy out there that's watching this broadcast that says, "Man, that's right down my wheelhouse. I'm motivated. I'm passionate. How do I be a part of this club? How can they get in touch with you guys?"
We have a Facebook page and we have a website. You go to the Iron Medics EMS MC. We'll be the only Iron Medics you can find on Facebook, so it's pretty easy to find us there. And we have the Iron Medics, I believe it's ems.org, or it might be emsmc.org is our Facebook page, but if you Google it, it's there. If you reach out to us, it'll either be John, Crystal, or myself. One of the three of us will probably be the ones responding to you.
That's awesome, man, and that's how to get the ball rolling. I didn't ask earlier, right before the break, we kind of ran out a little bit of time, but let's talk about the Wounded Blue program. How do they get in touch with you guys to support? Say they wanted to provide you guys donations either for the 522 Club or the Wounded Blue program. How do they do that?
Well, the 522 Club go through the Iron Medics. They'll explain everything when you hit up the contact or want to donate to them with the Wounded Blue on their web page, which is thewoundedblue.org. We actually have a feature for donations. We call it a membership, where if you want to donate, X amount, you can donate X amount. You become a member. You can reach out to me directly at Eddie Richardson, and it's all one word, Eddie Richardson at thewoundedblue.org. Either way, we can get you in touch with the right people for how to donate, and we can get you all the information that you need for your donations.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for the shout out. We'll definitely promote it on the website so the audience can get to you. I want to thank you once again on behalf of me and my audience for coming on the show. You guys can catch them at www.thewoundedblue.org and EMSMC.org. I want to make sure I get that right. www.ironmedicsemsmc.org. Once again, Mr. Eddie Richardson, thank you so much. It was an honor. I learned so much, man. And we look forward to trying to do whatever we can to support you guys and forging a long and prosperous relationship for both our organizations, man. Thank you for coming on the show. Wait, before we leave, you have to leave some words of inspiration, right? What would you say to the guy or the gal, the first responder that was in your position 5-10 years ago, right before you started to transition? What word of advice would you give them?
Don't give up. You're not alone. You're not forgotten. We've got your six. And if you all get the chance, watch our documentary on Amazon or iTunes. It's called The Wounded Blue. It's self-titled, and it'll actually show you how those words of advice would help a lot of these people that are going through what we went through.
True words have never been spoken. You guys heard it. Go check out that documentary, The Wounded Blue. You said it's on Netflix?
It's on Amazon and iTunes.
Amazon and iTunes. Make sure you guys go check it out. Mr. Richardson, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
The pleasure was mine. The honor was mine. Thank you so much, sir.